講嘢可以 mute 啊。Okay. Hello everyone, this is Rita Choi, founder of Asia HRM, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live session, People Before Institutions, Why Human Development Comes Before Corporate Development. As we kick off today, I want to take a brief moment to celebrate a huge personal and professional milestone. Exactly 1 year ago today, on my birthday, August 20th, 2025, we launched this LinkedIn Live series. What started as a weekly Wednesday discussion tackling top HR challenges faced by leaders in Hong Kong, and later expanding to our Singapore series as we realized these challenges are truly universal, has evolved wonderfully. After covering critical HR issues, we transitioned into business sustainability, diving deep into the environmental and social pillars. And now we are right into the governance aspect, which is especially close to my heart as a governance expert. It's hard to believe time flies so fast. And here we are, 1 full year later, continuing to learn and grow together. Before we dive into our topic today, I want to take a special moment to express my deepest gratitude for all the incredible support given by our past and present speakers, our supporting partner, HRM Asia, and ESG in a Box Academy. We truly couldn't have reached this 1 year milestone without you. And what's better topic to mark our anniversary year than looking at how institutions mature when people mature in judgment, discipline, mindset, and accountability. To unpack this, I'm joined by two incredible industry experts. They are Mr. Bernard Tan, Development Manager at Great Frontline Company Limited, Hong Kong, and Daniel Yun, Head of Finance, Administration, IT, and ESG at Swire Motors, Hong Kong. So welcome, gentlemen. It's fantastic to have both of you here. But before we start the session, we would love to say hello to everyone who are joining us today. For you, will you say hello back to us? And at the same time, just feel free to put your questions and also comments in the comment box, and they'll be answered. Okay, so shall we start the session now? Great. So may I have these two wonderful individuals to share with us a very short introduction of yourself? Maybe who would like to go first? Bernard, you would like to go first?
Yes, Bernard first.
Hello, everybody. This is my first time to meet in Asia HRM online. I'm happy to share with you. Last year, I met Rita, and we set about research to know what is the big challenge in for HR last year, and we write form a discussion forum in Hong Kong to share this. I still memorized that moment. That is a very good time, but because HRM let me know more in Hong Kong. Okay, so it is seems 1 year I joined these parties. I have to introduce myself first. I'm a training manager of experience, staff from social work on youth work experience and training scheme under Labor Department. Last 20 years, I prepared a lot of career training in electrics, in engineering, some in that this year I joined a training center to do some driving training also. So I have because the taxi driver is more needed. I usually involved in career training in last 20 years. So sometimes I will help company to set up corporate economy. Because I see last 20 years, there are many companies develop fast, but their culture is changing fast also. So that's my brief introduction.
Thank you, Bernard.
About
Thank
Danny?
you so much. Daniel.
Hi, good afternoon all, and I would like to say special thanks to Rita. Firstly, happy birthday to you.
Tomorrow.
and also,
Tomorrow.
and also, okay, for this, online HRM Asia webinar. Yeah, it is my great honor. 2 weeks ago, I have conducted the mediation as well as, impacting on the HRM, and it is also my honor to be here again to discuss with you regarding the, human development as well as the corporate development. Briefly, regarding my profile, I have more than 30 years of professional accounting, mainly at multinational companies. Nowadays, I'm working at Smart Motors as the head of finance, IT, and administration, as well as ESG. And also, luckily, I got the latest qualifications of the panel member of the Hong Kong Mediation Center, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago. Hope my experience as well as, my profile can add value to the HRM. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. So without further delay, we would love to start the first question. Okay, so for the first question, let's dive straight into our first major theme. And there is an ongoing debate. Should companies help people grow, or should people help companies grow? So Daniel, let's start with you from a finance, operations, and governance perspective. How do we balance corporate ROI on human development with the fundamental growth of the individual?
Okay, thank you. Regarding these two questions, they are like, as Rita say, chicken and egg, questions. Who comes first? Okay. In fact, this topic is very debatable. The traditional views is that how can people help the organization growth? Yeah, it is of a traditional view. But regarding for the progressive views is another question comes. How organizations help people grow? Okay, so let's take the chance to to discuss this topic. In my opinion, in fact, I prefer the topic of should companies help people or organizations help people grow first? The reasons are as follows. Because people, people in fact are not are not tools from the prospects of from the perspective of organizations. People's are assets. It is people's to drive the business results. In fact, without the talent people, in my opinion, corporates will not grow. Okay, especially in such resilience market uncertainty market situations. And how to help people growth? There are many factors as well. Culture, leadership, as well as sustainable human capability, etc. But maybe you can ask, okay, if the corporate cannot grow, how can the organizations help the people grow? So in fact, I would like to say that maybe it is a kind of sequence, or it is a kind of a short-term or long-term prospect of the organization. If in the case the organization is short-term, or in the nearly turnaround or loss-making, the first priority will be that the people should help the organization grow firstly. But of course, if it is of a stable environment, and then the companies is aiming at long-term as well as growth, as well as depends on its industrial, etc. Organizations should help the people grow. The ultimate benefits will be that the organization will result in a better ROI, as well as a longer sustainability, as well as a more, I would say, in depth. Okay, because the organizations as well as the people can grow together. But in terms of the sequence, in such situations, the company will grow, okay, in a longer sense, as well as more to a more extent, in my opinion. Yeah. Bernard, maybe you can share your view.
Bernard, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I follow up. I'm still here. Maybe the ideas, I think it's quite different from finance. You say people as assets. No, assets is valuable. Okay, but in my point of view of training, human resources is a resources. Could be growth, could be we invest, and can be changed. People can be changed all the time. Okay, by my experience, I found some company from Europe. They will set up a exit training for their staff, because some people, the people skill and hard skill and soft skill, many people think we can change the people, but in fact it is not the truth. People cannot change because they have their own interest. Staff will concern what they get and what they will be do after the reward. So some people still you give training for them, they will fail. So training is a kind of selection. It's a kind of selection. If they don't pass the examination or the test, they have to leave their post. So in training, in the point of training, company is before. Hello, still here. The online system is quite. It is a little bit problem. Company will have their policy and their direction first. So the small group of the high level staff will form an idea. Usually maybe one or two main field, something like people based anything. They have a theme a little from the top management. They will give the theme, and our training as a trainer, we will deliver the theme as different kinds of training course for them. Okay, so people should be follow the ideas of the top management. The ROI is based on shareholders' benefit. So you see, last few years, many big companies will be cut off the headcount and change, but they still recruit new staff because old staff cannot meet the new challenge. It's never is some problem. You will see like your body, you have to eat something new and build your better body. So it is not chicken and egg dynamics. It should be cause and effect. Okay. So ROI is so important.
ROI, that's very true, because I think for a lot of commercial companies, right, they really have to look into ROI, whether it's really value for money for the employees to receive training, and how do they measure the investment. I think this is very important. And also from earlier, Daniel mentioned that from the finance perspective, right? When a company is struggling, people should help them first. But when the company has become stable, then they should provide training or help employees develop. Yeah, I think this is very practical as well. I think that's the mindset of a lot of business people, especially you are an accounting expert, right? You are the finance expert. So this is how the I think not the accounting people think, but also the investors, also the owner of the company think, right? I think this is also very practical and very true. Okay, very nice. So I have my friend Ricky here. Ricky, hello, Ricky, and also Anthony is here. Hello to everyone. Okay, I just want to write on this question. There's a famous saying by Richard Branson, the president of Virgin Airlines. If we train people, well. I can't remember exact wording, but this is what it means. If we train people well, people will stay with the company, right? We need to train them in order for them to perform their work very well. But people are also afraid that we train them so well, they'll leave the company. But what Richard Branson said that if we train them very well, they will stay with the company.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think? Should we invest first, or should we just wait and see whether this is a somebody which the company worth spending money on?
Maybe I can share some, examples at the group. As I mentioned, I'm working at Smart Group. Smart Groups, we used to have the, we call it the management trainee program. Okay, of course, I would say that because, as you know, that Smart Group is very established company, not only in Hong Kong, but internationally. So, in fact, it is of a kind of long-term development as well as long-term sustainability from our group's perspective. So we have the I'm not remember from which year we have we call it the, as I mentioned, a management trainee program. They have the two prospects. The first prospect is if you have the first degree, you can apply. Okay, the career development will be that. Okay, the group will assign you to a particular business unit. And then for the first, 2 or 3 years, and then after the 3 years later, the MT, we call it MT management trainee, will be relocated to another BU, etc. and etc. So it's a kind of, management development program aimed at, say 10 years or 15 years later, the MT will become at least the general manager or the head of whatever business unit, etc. and etc. Another is the management trainee program from finance. The similar profile, but the topic or the departments will be treasury or finance, etc. to be rotated among all the in the major SWA companies, etc. Why I quote this example is that because SWA is very valued on talent development. So I would say that it echoes with Rita's saying that, okay, if the company invests, in the company, in the individuals, and then the individuals, the companies frankly do not have any guarantee that that individuals will stay long or just get your basic training and then go away, etc. But in our I would say that the culture or the mindset in the whole group is that we value on the career development, as I mentioned, is the human development. And then, of course, it always has the risk, but I would like to conclude that if we do not invest, okay, the long-term success, okay, will not be, we do as a top management of the Swire Motors, we also have the similar, trainee program. And then I would say that if we do not invest in such kind of similar training, I would comment that we cannot imagine maybe 5 years later, 10 years later, what will be our successors. So our path will be that we are trying to, to invest in the people first. And then, of course, that is no guarantee. But the so-called guarantee is that if you, invest more on the people, and then you, as a management, member, the individual will see that I have the, career prospect within the group, etc. So as a, as the individual, I would say that there are many chances, to be rotated within the group. We also have many successful cases for some individuals working at the group nearly 40 years. Over 30 years is, very popular within our Swire group. So I would say that it is a very good culture, as well as, it is a kind of good signal that our group value talent development, as well as, the human development comes first. Yeah.
Very nice. I think sustainability is the key, right? If you want the company to be sustainable, we need to invest in talent. That's very true. Okay, so if nothing to add on, we have a question from the audience today. This is the question: what happens when companies invest heavily in systems and technology, but underinvest in people? Because nowadays we all talk about AI, right? A lot of AI training. Yeah. So who would like to answer this question?
AI is a big challenge.
So who would like to answer this question?
Maybe I take a bit. I talk this. Let me ask here. I think this is a difficult problem because the development is very fast. Maybe I said it's too fast because people's skill is not ready to use the system. Just last 2 or 3 years ago, we talked with chatbot and give the AI will give our some new ideas or some easy to touch the information. But this year we don't use AI chatbot only. We will use AI agents because the agent can do all the work in your computer. For the latest information, in some country, you can do your work in your computer, and the AI will recall your screen and learn your hard skill through your screen. It is amazing. Last year, no one will tell me use these kinds of words. If we 10 years ago, we have you will invest management trainee because we want to share the company culture and the company common benefits for them. We're looking for a future C-level staff from management trainee. However, this year the system is changed, and like the AI agents, we need not to ready for any culture. We only need the hard skill because the fast learner can touch the latest technology. So we can recruit new staff immediately to plug in. I say plug in because it's very easy to know how to effective and to do the work effectively. So this year is very challenging. So if we we invest too many in people, but the people is below the technology. We have to fire. We have to fire him. Oh, so in some public course, we found that there are many more elder than 40 people to join the AI course, but they did not have the logic of what is AI. They only want to have the hard skill. So still, they finish the course and fail the test. But at the same time, the 20 or something people, they know how to use AI to write coding, use AI to make a website, but they are not engineer in IT. They're just a general study person, something like art, business, or architecture. They can use their professional at the same time to use the AI. So I think under investment in people is quite common in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong has some limitation because but we cannot use all the AI over the world because our status. So we have a limited tools to use. And I see last month some company will recruit manager or higher level from other Asia company because they know and used the new AI, something like the AI agents before. They can plug in the company. So many company will use a lot of money to invest in system, more than people. Even I'm a trainer. I think training is not more. Is less and less because self-study nowadays. Not self-study is very easy. They need not to join any course or join any. They can learn anything in over the world. That's the point.
So thank you, Bernard. You brought out the current situation, especially in Hong Kong, that company actually don't invest too much on people because of the super technology, because technology change and like AI agent. I understand that quite a lot of companies now in Hong Kong use AI agents to help them streamline their work process and so on. So how about Daniel, what do you think?
I would say that it is a very good question. When companies invest heavily in systems and technology, but on the other side, under-invest in people. But of course, it depends on what kind of industry. Firstly speaking, of course, if the company is, for example, Alibaba or the other, Tencent, etc. I would say that. Those companies should, invest heavily in those, AI as well as, systems for their long-term growth. Firstly, but on the other hand, that investment in the people should not be undermined. For the human development, of course, firstly, it needs, money. But on the other hand, that training, to people, as of course, also besides of the, external training, we also have the internal training. In fact, development to the people, if put in another way, that it will not cost you too much. I would say that. Firstly, as I mentioned to you, that in my response to the first question is that human development is a kind of long-term development. It depends on the company's culture as well as firstly is the leadership skill of the boss of that company. To put it in a nutshell, for those human development, if the organization is of growth mindset, I would say that the changing or the benefits will be can save money rather than as compared with the traditional fixed mindset. Maybe I can illustrate a little bit more. I previously worked at some as I mentioned large MNC, but those of 30 years ago, my boss always said that. In fact, I was a freshman then. Sometimes saying that who is doing wrong, etc. and etc. Yeah, it's a kind of a branding or trying to find faults on some staff. Okay. Versus, I would say that in the nowadays HRM, if the leader, okay, or the the head of that department may say that understood the dynamic or challenging situation. What can we learn from the previous I would say that to avoid the word of failure. What is our previous learning? In order for the staff saying have the feeling that we understand that in the past or the past assignment we are not achieving the expected results. Maybe from the traditional view is that we fail, but of course we do want to do more to have the success in the next time or in the future. The leader can do more encouragement to their teammates by saying that what are we learn maybe or to ask the team that how can we do better in the future, in order to for those people, for the staff to learn that my boss is not bringing me, and then I receive a kind of encouragement or recognition despite the results are not good as expected. I would say that in terms of the feeling or in terms of the the trust between the staff as well as the management team, it will create a loss. So it's a kind of intangible human development, rather than to spend some money for the staff to join some external training. It can be not costly in terms of the human development. The HR can consider.
Thank you, Daniel. When it comes to investment, right, we always link it with money. But now I think investing in our employees, is that something very expensive? This is my question. Like, can we come up with something very innovative that we can still invest in our employees, but at the same time the cost is low? So I would love to hear from our viewers today to see if you come up with some suggestion on how we can invest in our people, but at the same time the cost is not high but very effective. So just put it in your chat box and then so that we can learn from each other, we can grow together. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is about mindset and governance. How does a company's internal mindset, culture, shape and influence its approach to human capital governance? Who would like to try answering this question? Bernard? How does a company
say a little first? Mindset, company, mindset, culture shape. May I share a story?
Oh, absolutely. We love hearing stories. We love listening to stories. Bernard, go ahead. I think your internet connection is not that good.
Still,
Bernard, you there?
Hello.
Yeah.
We
can hear you.
Still online?
Go ahead. Yes.
I want to talk about okay, still here.
Still here. Go ahead.
Yeah. will give them a notice, notes, and some guidance for their employees. In this case, the company not only give paper for the new staff, they give orientation training for them. So what is the orientation training content is? They are what is the theme of the company? What is the position of the company? And one special thing should be in the context, that is the founders background and the founders family. I think this is quite interesting. Long time ago, that not much company will talk about the founders, only talk about what you should do and what how make it right or how do the right thing. Okay, something like that in the past. But in this case, they care about the founders because the mindset is very important. How to behave, that is what you think. How you behave, that is what you think. So the founders' history and it is a very important point but they need not to examine the history, only know and talk like a story. The family background and how many wife, who's her daughter, his daughter, and something like this. It's very warm, and they during the orientation training, they will connect the management trainee and the director as a partner, and each they will meet at least once a time per month, something like go out for lunch or join some event. They want to pass through the company mindset through connection, not only in the training room, and not only all the hard skills still study on the website is very easy. So I think in this case, this is a Hong Kong local textile company. They have a difficulty because that all the staff is, if their sharing is different, they can't to be the top management, but they can be the director level. So this is a kind of company culture. Higher level, you have a limit, okay, but you can, but still you can get many benefits from the company because it's a role model, as the role model to let the management know how go through their role and rotate in different company. This is all about story and their history. Okay, history is his story. So I think this is quite different from the last 10 years. This company let the internal mindset transform to a social issue and the social meeting to let them know how to develop their own like ethic. And what ethic is very hard to say what is wrong or right, but by their mentor, that means the director level as the mentor to help. This is the type to shape how to let them lead their staff. Okay. So that is
Thank you.
And one more point, before they use these kinds of connection, the management training is not much people work more than a year. After they introduce these kinds of training, or not training, that is kind of connection, the more than half management trainee will still in their company. So connection is a kind of deliver the
Hello, are you done?
okay.
with your sharing because the line was breaking.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Yeah. So are you done with your sharing, or you still have some more input for us?
Okay.
That's all right. Okay. That's. I think that's very
That is
good.
done. That's done.
Okay. I believe that the company that
Maybe
you
Daniel
mentioned.
can talk first.
Yeah. I believe that the company that you mentioned is a family-owned company, right? That's why they have a lot of histories to tell, especially when they are doing the induction program.
Yeah.
But one thing, yes, I think it's very normal that company culture, especially in a SME, is defined and dictated by the owners. So the owners actually mindset or value is very important to the company. Yeah. So the company mindset or the what we got company core values are the owners' core values. Okay, so Daniel, anything to share?
Just like to share a little bit is the mindset or the culture of the the organization is very important. I would suggest, if possible, the leadership style will be of of a kind of learning culture. What I would like to add on is that in the case of a influence to the CG human capital governance will be that it will add values to the HGC by means of a growth mindset culture. Of course, Rita have mentioned that for such kind of external training, it will cost money, but on everyday operations, as I mentioned, the leadership skill, the leadership behavior do add values, towards the management style as well as the add values to human capital governance. For example, what I mean is a growth mindset is the leader or the team can admit mistakes, as I mentioned, not to admit to say that who is doing wrong, etc. etc. But of course, in the case of very critical situation, the boss have to do so. But in the now daily operations, we can the team can learn as a result of from a kind of mistakes, etc. And for the management, can also ask for feedback from the staff. Getting the feedback from the staff is a kind of two-way communication, as well as increasing the trust between the team, as well as to create a kind of sense of responsibility, etc. And also to encourage a kind of learning. And also to if possible, if the team is big enough, or to have the job rotations between departments, and take my team of finance for example, a staff of doing FP&A can be rotated to a team of doing the month-end closing, etc. So it encourage a kind of continuous learning. And also in terms of the human capital governance and also internal control point of view, job rotation, as you all know that it adds values to prevent human risk, as well as some kind of human errors, etc. So I do always encourage a growth culture within my team, as well as in the company I worked at.
Daniel, I want to deep dive into the comment you just shared with us. With job rotation, it helps minimize or mitigates human risk. Can you explain further on that?
Okay. I'm not sure whether you have heard some actual case from the bankers. When I deal with some bankers, they would tell me that I will be on on it for at least, I can't remember, 2 calendar weeks or 3 calendar weeks. I cannot remember. But I asked, where will you go? he or she just tell me that I have to do the the lift because it is the governance requirements from from the bank, etc. So I would like to add on that. Okay, especially if one individual doing, for example, for 10 years, I would say that at the accounts payable section, if that is only one people, you can imagine that. Okay, of course, luckily it may or may not have some kind of risk happen, but if there are chance that for that particular functions, it can be rotated, say every 2 years. It will prevent some possible, I would say, the risk. For example, as I mentioned, the people doing the accounts payable AP, okay, maybe okay, they are very good, okay, with a particular a supplier, of course. Just to say that, okay, I'm not sure saying that I have the foreign situation at my company. And if that AP responsible people are very familiar with that supplier, and okay, the staff may try to pay earlier, for example, okay, and if there are many a huge number of payments for the boss to authorize, yeah, the boss may not be aware that for this particular supplier, okay, or particularly, the credit terms may be, 60 days. But if that, staff is very familiar with that, supplier, he or she will try to, pay earlier, say, in the batch of, 30 days credit terms, etc. You may not know. I would say that, okay, if the boss or the authorizer says, okay, we are doing the daily routine job, putting the primarily 60 days credit terms, but put it in the batch of 30 days. So if you frankly speaking, benefits to that particular supplier. And in the case of job rotation, okay, the another staff may, take note of such or, be aware of such kind of, loophole, etc. and etc. Yeah. Yeah.
So with job rotation, it really minimizes, right? The human risk.
Yeah.
Very true, very true.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost Bernard. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway, so let's move on. Earlier mentioned about growth mindset, right? So we have a question about growth mindset, and of course, opposite to the growth mindset is fixed mindset.
Yeah.
In corporate development, how do we identify fixed mindset within an organization, and what strategies can leaders use to transform into a growth-oriented culture? Maybe Daniel, you can, just share with us.
Yeah. Okay. Ben is coming back. Okay. Okay. Maybe I share first. In terms of fixed as well as growth culture, I would say that in the maybe in the past century, most of the management style is of fixed culture. Having said that, for example, fixed mindset is that the company only recognize those successful projects. Okay, for example, for a sales team to win a particular big customer, etc. for a particular project or or a deal. Okay, but for a growth mindset, I would say that of course. In the case of losing or that particular tender or contract to the competitor, of course the company do want to get this contract, but for a growth mindset leadership, we will ask, for example, we recognize what we have learned and hope we can do better in next time. I would say that it will, as I mentioned, it will create the trust because I would say that the sales team do want to win the tender, but of course, every, variables we cannot control and the tender cannot be, won this time. Versus, to bring, for a particular staff that, and then maybe that staff is a very good salesman, etc. But for this particular particular case, the tender lost because of pricing, etc., etc. And also, as I mentioned, in the case of leadership, if the leaders can admit mistakes, etc., of course, it is not kind of big or serious mistakes. Okay, for example, we are in the nowadays in August, we are in the budget setting exercise for next year. And of course, back to a year ago, okay, we do not have any, all the assumptions right now nowadays. For example, the war, etc. Frankly speaking, I would say that most of the companies are performing far behind, the original budget setting. And then we do take this chance, okay, to say that, okay, maybe we have to revise our original assumptions and do the, forecast for the next month as well as the next quarters, etc. It is a kind of, not a kind of, a fault finding, but it's a kind of, reviewing as well as, encouragement, saying that, okay, we all understand that, okay, external environments we cannot control. And we are doing the best, to try to adapt to such kind of situation, and we are trying to, to do the more and better in the next time, etc. So it is a kind of a growth culture, trying to encourage people to better and better in the future, rather than to find fault on a particular, so-called mistake, etc. Yeah. Yeah, this is my view. Yeah, Bernard, welcome back.
Yeah, your turn.
Hello. Okay, it's easy to define.
Yeah.
Every company has their paper policy. Okay, fixed mindset is the policy will not change more than 100 years. Okay, and growth mindset, that means you may not change any words, but you will review it, and you will invite external to review it. But because the word may be still right, but we don't do anything review. We do not have a checklist to know what is right, what is do. I want to have this checklist, but in real there is no checklist, because the world is changing all the time. So the growth mindset, that means you will evaluate here and now and the future. What is the future goal? And I'm where start from where I am, and I how go to the new era. You see, in Hong Kong, Prince Edward, I missed a textile company, a small textile company. They changed it to be a dumping restaurant. This is quite interesting story. Why textile company will be a restaurant? Because they think we have to benefit our community. They do not change the location. They keep you do the business in the same place. Okay, so this you still go to Prince Edward, we will see the dumping restaurant. Okay, this is the growth mindset. You may be totally change your business. Okay, not only but your original value should be kept in your company. Okay, so fixed mindset, that means you do the same thing, but it's an interesting story.
Yeah. Thank you, Bernard. Yeah, quite interesting story, right? From a textile company and then convert itself into a dumping restaurant. Wow, that's interesting. I've never heard of it. But anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Pardon me? Yeah. So from fixed to growth, I could hear some
many stories in SME. There are many SME stories. They change because they keep the family small business and have to survive.
Okay, so from this fixed to growth culture, right? I could see it. We are moving from fixed to growth mindset, having these kinds of culture, is we move from blaming culture to an appreciation culture.
Yeah, yeah.
And we move from
Learning
being
culture.
fixing on what we need to do. Everything has to follow the procedure, and procedure will never be reviewed. We have to move from this kind of fixated on the current procedure to something agile, very flexible, and also we use our creativity so that we could cope with the changing world. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the story about this company changing from a textile company to a restaurant. Very interesting. So illustrate that we need to be agile and know what has happened, what is happening in the world, and then make the changes accordingly. Okay, so let's have one more question before we have the closing remarks from both of you. The last one would be, okay, what special personal qualities such as judgment, discipline, mindset, accountability must leaders cultivate in their people first to ensure the institution itself survives and thrives? Maybe Daniel share two, and Bernard share the other two. Maybe more than two. Yeah, Daniel, you first.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. It is a very good question. What specific personality, qualities, etc. I would say that in terms of the mindset, he or she has to be, open. Yeah. Firstly, is have to be open-minded. Firstly, and the other is, as I mentioned, is a kind of, the second one is to be of, continuous improvement. Yeah. In terms of the because given for these two, personal qualities, etc., the leadership skill will be, of course, will be that. Okay, as I mentioned, it will pose to the team that, okay, in the case of, a so-called fail or, cannot achieve a particular expected results at a particular time, it doesn't matter. Yeah. At least to have a, a kind of culture or, encouragement to the team that, okay, we can do better in the next time and in the future. And also the ability of the team cannot be, underestimated. And also to, encourage a kind of, continuous and sustainable, the development. Yeah, I would say that these two, personal qualities are the, prerequisites for leaders to cultivate for the team. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bernard?
Yeah, being open-minded and continuous improvement. Bernard, your turn.
Yeah.
Hello?
Still disconnected. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Connected. Okay.
Yeah.
I say connect this word that is too many in this session.
Yeah.
Okay. The personality quality, I think mindset is the most important. Mindset is very important. But discipline is not easy to do because you have emotion. Sometimes we have to take a break. We have to go out and we join in and to see more. But mindset is what you care and what you will do. For the last story, what is the key value? What that have to and keep eye on the environment, not only internal, is external to see and hear and feel and do. So open mindset is very important, and absorb new ideas, new things, and new people all the time. At the same time, accountability is an essential thing. If you don't have accountability, no one will follow your step and follow your as your staff. Okay, so accountability is the essential. Mindset is the main part. But judgment, I can't say anything about judgment because nowadays I feel I see many companies set up a committee to be the judge, and the founder and the family will let that will give the right for the committee to judge the right things, because professionals have their professional eye on the judgment. Okay, so that judgment can be passed to other people's. Okay, so I think mindset is the most important things, personal qualities.
I think, Bernie, you mentioned judgment. Is something related to decision-making authority?
Yeah, I say.
Decision-making authority, right? Nowadays, a lot of committees, right, in company giving their, each of the committee, like especially chair, will have a certain authority to pass the resolution. Yeah. So thank you so much. So we have got mindset, right? Open mindset, and also discipline, continuous improvement, accountability. Very good, very nice. So here comes to the end of the session. Any closing remarks from both? One key takeaway? Maybe Daniel first.
Okay, thanks. Okay, just one, maybe in one sentence. Okay, as I mentioned, people are assets of organizations. In order for a long-term sustainability for the organizations, human development comes before corporate development, because in my opinion, organizations can only grow as fast and as far as people are with them capable of growing. Put in a nutshell is that both can grow hand in hand if the organizations put the human development first. Yeah.
Thank you. So human development first. How about
Yes.
Bernard?
Training is selection. Training is selection. Okay.
Training is selection,
No,
meaning that provide training.
We can change people, but we can give them a test to let them pass the test. If they do this, that means they will join us. Okay. If they don't do anything, change. This is my word.
So what you are trying to say is that training should only be provided to a select group of people, right? Bernard? Hello? Hello?
Disconnect again.
Anyway, so assume so.
Hello.
Assume so. Okay. Yeah, of course we cannot train everyone, right? You have to be very focused on a special group of people, like the management trainees, right? The company would be more willing to spend more money on this group of people. But for those major change like AI, I know there are a lot of companies spend substantial amount of money in training a lot of people in order for them to be AI proficient. Okay, so thank you both, Daniel and Bernard, so much for sharing your insights today. And remember, everyone, sustainable corporate growth begins with people. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to follow our speakers on LinkedIn, and we'll see you in our next session. And for me, I'll be traveling next week because I'm having my birthday trip next week. So our LinkedIn Live is still on. So I will see you the week after, but do tune in on our Wednesday next live session. Thank you so much. Okay, see you. Have a good day.